In today's video, we're going to talk about best condo buildings in Toronto's Liberty Village. This video is part of an ongoing series with Tom Story, where we discuss good condo buildings in different parts of the city. So if you get any value out of this content, please hit that like button. Also, please do subscribe to the channel. It really helps a small channel like this to grow. And if you got any questions about real estate, you can book a call with us by clicking on the first link mentioned in the description below. Now, enjoy the video.
Today, it's Liberty Village. And I feel like this is one that's been requested a lot. People love this area or hate this area. There's always an opinion on Liberty Village. Maybe even before we go over the buildings, what's your general thought at this point in time in 2025 on Liberty Village?
Yeah, first of all, good to be back. I'm liking these series actually. Now, when I go into the buildings, I see I'm more intentional if this building is good or bad, which I can talk about on this channel. But anyway, yeah, this Liberty Village is, personally, I like it really. It's very vibrant, very lively. We've got good bars, restaurants, and good buildings too. The only downside is the traffic. Like getting in and getting out of Liberty it's tough, especially during rush hours. So that's the only downside. But yeah, people have opinions on this, positive or negative.
Yeah.
But personally, I like it, and I think it's a good neighborhood too.
I was there literally last week to meet with a seller, and it was like mid-afternoon, and I got there about an hour early. I misjudged how bad traffic could have been. So I was literally just walking around, and like I hadn't really walked around there in a while. I was like, oh my, like literally you never have to leave. Everything is here.
Yeah.
Your vet is here. Like there's all these different shopping options. There's food options. Like everything is very close. It's changed a lot over the last little bit.
More or less, it's changed in a good way, except it's become very busy. That's the only thing, or I'll point out. But other than that, it has become way better, and it's nicer out there. They don't have transit connectivity as of yet, but like you have to go across the bridge to go to King Street to get onto a streetcar, or you have to go to the exhibition on the south side of the Liberty. So that's the only thing.
So just before we get to the buildings, I'll say too that like this, we're focusing on core Liberty Village in this video. So there's a lot of buildings I like that are like just on the other side on King Street, or like, you know, the DNA buildings, the One Shaws. We're not talking about those ones. I don't even know what you like. That's technically King West, but it's like King West almost. So we're just going to focus on Liberty Village. Why don't you get us started with building number one?
Yeah, the first one I'm going to talk about is Toy Factory Lofts, basically 43 Hannah Avenue, no brainer.
Yeah, get it out of the way early.
Yeah, so it used to be a toy factory back in the day in like 1900s, give or take. And in 2008, I think Lantera Developments, they converted into hard lofts. So it's a solid building. Maintenance fees are pretty low. I think it's one of the lowest maintenance fees in the whole city. I would say that building has it. And that's why the condos in this building trade at a higher price point. So the condos in this building sell for about like $1,000 to $1,100 per square foot, depending from condo and the layout of the condo. And yeah, that's my top one in Liberty Village for now.
Yeah, the maintenance fees at Toy Factory are like 60 to 65 cents a square foot. That's one of the only buildings I ever heard of like years ago that maintenance fees went down one year. So I don't know exactly what's going on or how it's working so well, but kudos to them for keeping things in check. And just like, you know, it's a cool building, right? Like the units, like there's some smaller stuff in there, but there's lots of like one beds that are like 1,000 square feet. There's one that traded in 2025 that was like over 5,000 square feet. So there's some like massive, like high-end luxury stuff as well. And something interesting, talk about Lantera. You know, like this is why like when people say like what are good developers, what are bad developers? Lantera did Toy Factory, and do you know what other building they did?
They have done few lofts, right?
They did the ice condos. They
Ice
did
condos
12
too.
and
Yeah,
14 York. So it's like what crazy
Opposites.
complete ends of the spectrum. So I just think that's interesting to say that like just because one developer did one project and it didn't turn out well doesn't necessarily mean that they're not good at what they do. Like, so give them full credit for being the ones behind Toy Factory.
For sure. And the condo you just mentioned, not in Liberty, that condo is more of the management as opposed to Lantera Developments.
Right.
That's what I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously that was on my list as well. I'm glad we got that out of the way because that's kind of the easy answer here. My next building is 69 Lynn Williams. And I picked this for, do you have that as well?
Yeah, you stole mine.
Okay. So only 15 stories, 2013 build. You get units that go from like 400 square foot bachelor units to about 1,300 square feet in that building. Condo fees are reasonable, 70 to 75 cents per square foot. And you can buy things in that building under $1,000 a square foot. Because when they built up Liberty Village, you have so many condos that are like combined with other ones. I just like that 69 Lynn Williams has its own entrance. You can walk in. I don't love every aspect of the building, but I think of the options in Liberty Village, looking at decent floor plans, especially those like 2-bedroom floor plans where it's like a truly split 2-bedroom, where you have bedrooms on each side. 69 Lynn Williams has some pretty good 2-bed floor plans, and that's why I made my list for this video, which it sounds like it made yours as well.
For sure. And it faces the Liberty Park. So you've got decent views on the east side and as well as on the west side. West side, okay, you'll face the other building, but on the east side, you're secure and nothing's going to be built right in front of the building.
Yeah. So what's next on your list?
Next one I'm going to talk about because I'm also considering I'm being price conscious too. So I'm going to include 80 Western Battery and 100 Western Battery. These both are beside each other. Units in this building, they have a very solid layout. As you just mentioned, the 2 bedrooms which have a split layout. You can find 2 bedrooms with a split layout in this building. Actually, I recently saw a 2-bedroom, I think one of the best layout in the city in the 100 Western Battery, and as well as 80 Western Battery too. Solid split layout looking out east. You got the whole skyline view of the city, and it sold for $770,000 with parking and locker recently. So that's a steal deal in my opinion in today's time. So these 2 buildings I would highly vouch for. Yes.
I actually had 125 Western Battery, so we're not too far off, right? Same idea. Tower at King West, I think, is a really bad name for a building. But you take away the name of the building, you can get some decent sized units. It's kind of the same as what you just talked about. Like, pricing's reasonable, maintenance per square foot is reasonable, good overall floor plans in these buildings. And I think a lot of it is because, like, you look when these buildings were built. Like, this is a 2013 building. It's not a 2020 building. It's not a 2019 building. Like, yes, investors were still very much buying condos in 2013 when they were selling these things out, but it wasn't the point where it was just developers were just making floor plans to try to pitch them to investors to get the best ROI on rent per square foot. And this is why you should buy this one, regardless on if it was actually like livable. Right.
Absolutely. That's the theme over here. All these 3 buildings, they were built between 2008 to 2013. That's the theme. So that's a sweet spot. Any building which I think is about from 7 to 18 years in that building, you tend to see good layouts, and those buildings also have reasonable maintenance fees too.
Yeah, and typically more end users, owner occupiers in those buildings, and they've been around long enough that if there were to be any major issues, we would be very well aware of what they are. Right. And that if, you can see the trends on what the maintenance fees and the prices have done in these buildings. With the newer stuff, you don't know. Right. It's just a question mark. Like, you're not sure what's going to happen.
And one thing, sorry, I want to add to they're building new buildings around these buildings. So you have to be careful if anyone's buying units in this building, make sure what view or what exposure your unit has. Otherwise, your view is going to get blocked. Yeah. So let's move on.
So what's next?
Next is 5 Hanover Avenue. Again, it's a loft style building. This was built in 2013. Condos in this building sell for about like $1,000 per square foot. Again, you got a cool loft style layouts you can get, but the price point in this building again is higher as opposed to the buildings we just mentioned. And the units which are facing just south, you're facing the tracks, so that's something you should consider. But overall, good building and good location too. And down the line, again, I'm a Ontario Line fan, I think, by now. So there's Ontario Line coming up at Exhibition Station. So that's going to be good for this building.
5 Hanover, the only thing I'll say, and this was on my list as well, I think this might be the first video ever that like we almost were 100% on what we've been saying. But because it's like the 2-level unit is what makes that building really different and unique, right? And there are some large ones that these 2 levels are very stunning and like gorgeous photos. And like, people know what I mean when I talk about those listings. But in some of the smaller ones, right? Because you can still get a 500, 600 square foot 2-level loft style. But sometimes it's like the main living area is so tight in that building because you're splitting that 500 square feet or 600 square feet between 2 levels. And so it's just, the bedroom might be bigger than a typical bedroom when it's upstairs, and it's a cool looking loft style. But I've just found some of those ones, like the bowling alley structure of them I'm not
Yeah.
the biggest fan of, but there are larger units in that building that I think are great options as well for
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's less than 300 units in the building, so it's big,
Oh, yeah.
but it's not massive, right?
It's just 8 floors. It's just 8 floors, so that's why it's not a like I would say low to mid rise. So less number of people in that building.
Gotcha. Okay, last one for you. What is it?
Last one for me in the building. I was about to say 125 Western Battery, but you've already said that. 51 East Liberty is also good in my opinion, but it's again cookie cutter condo, but at the same time it's managed well. The price per square foot is good as well, and yeah, that's about it for me.
I'm gonna go across the street to wrap this up. Is 59 East Liberty. The reason why this building is on my list, I mean, we're seeing a similar thing here. It was a 2011 build, right? It's well managed. I know people that I trust a lot that know all the buildings, and they own investment condos in this building. More than one person, by the way. And that's just like, that's interesting to me. People that are very well aware of what's happening, they choose to buy in this building for many different reasons. You can get in under $900 a square foot, kind of in today's market right now. Your maintenance fees are reasonable, under 70 cents per square foot. So 59 East Liberty is one that maybe gets a little bit slept on in terms of like solid building, lots of options that come up because it is a tower, but I feel like not a lot of people actually talk about it.
Yeah, that's a solid one too. And also on the same line, 75, 85 East Liberty, those towers, a lot of units in those, but the units have good layout, so I would also add to the list. And it's a managed building which is managed well overall.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That is our Liberty Village breakdown on our favorite condos. Let us know in the comments of this video if there's any buildings you think we should have talked about, or that we didn't talk about, or that you think we're wrong on our opinion. It's all good. We want this to be a community style video. Let us know below what you like, what you didn't like, if there's any other areas you want us to do next for this video series. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.